Welcome into Seahawks Today, sponsored by Mint Mobile, which is on America's largest 5G network. Plan starting at just $15 a month, and it's owned by actor Ryan Reynolds. We will answer your questions with reaction to the Seahawks' 27-11 loss to the Chicago Bears here on Seahawks Today. And let's get started with Paul. Paul writes, Eason had more energy tonight than Geno. He did. I mean, that's for certain. Geno Smith looked really bad. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 10 for 18, 112 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, he looked like a deer in headlights out there. It was a bad night for Geno Smith. And Jacob Eason came out there. Jacob Eason didn't play great either by any means, but he sure played better than Geno did. 17-35, 141 yards. The offense didn't get any movement of any sorts until Jacob Eason was out there on offense in the second half. The offense wasn't looking good by any means with Geno Smith, but it was at least competent of sorts with Jacob Eason leading the way for this offense. So, with that said, bad night offensively, but at least Jacob Eason showed some life of some sorts. Next question comes from Raw Hector. Soon as Geno leaves, we start to get the ball moving. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Look, Geno Smith in the first preseason game against the Steelers, he started out slow, and then he finished strong. He was really good in the 2-minute offense. Tonight, against Chicago, Geno showed nothing, absolutely nothing of any sorts, of any movement, any momentum with this offense. There was a couple of plays here and there, but nothing to get this offense consistently moving of any sorts. Meanwhile, Jacob Eason was far from perfect, but at least the offense had some life of some sorts with Jacob Eason that we did not see with Geno Smith. So credit to Jacob Eason for that on that front. Next question comes from Seahawks Nest. Should we change Seahawks management? Look, here's the deal with this Seahawks team, this organization. Although tonight did not go as planned, and that's obvious, I will be adamant to this, and I've said this for a while, and I will continue to say this, that for this Seahawks team, it's not about this year. It's about building for the future. They have the foundation set. They have pieces to build, but it is not going to be overnight. This is going to it's going to take time. Seahawks fans, you are going to have to trust the process. You don't have your quarterback for the future right now, but they have found a lot of key pieces that they can build upon and get towards where they want to go in the future. It's not this year, but give it time. We'll see where things go. But I don't think management needs to change. Things are good right now. Nick Fury writes, #Seahawks, #Papa Seahawk. That's a new one. Your thoughts on Geno Smith and the Seahawks defense? My opinion, we were Division III high school team bad. Look, the Seahawks defense was bad in that Steelers game, but tonight, this loss was not on the defense. Now, the defense was put in such bad positions, so many short fields. I mean, even special teams struggled. Special teams put this defense at a disadvantage, forcing them to play with short fields from time to time again. So, with that said, I am not going to put the blame on the defense tonight. And we saw improvement from Tariq Woolen, Coby Bryant. Those guys were much better than their debuts in Pittsburgh last week. The defense, it's got a ways to go, but tonight was not about the defense. This was all on the offense of what went down. The offense and the special teams were just atrocious. How would you grade the Seahawks' performance? Our pinned comment today, grade report time. Type A, B, C, D, or F. If you had to put a grade, how would you grade the Seahawks' performance tonight? Let me know in the comment section one way or the other how you would grade it. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know how you would grade this for the Seahawks tonight against the Bears. Brandy wants to know, where is the intensity at? Oh, yeah. I mean, if you looked at some of these guys, they showed the camera shots panning on the field, and it looked like some of these guys were just uninterested, didn't want to be there. I mean, where was the fire? I understand it's a preseason game, and these games are not meaningful when it comes to your record and playoffs or anything like that. But this team showed a lack of attention. I mean, here's an example. Charles Cross, with all those penalties, I think that one thing you could point to, the intensity factor, if you were fully in, fully invested, would you be making those mistakes? Wouldn't you have things shored up where you wouldn't fall for the tricks and be doing those false starts and the holdings, whatever, how many penalties it was? I mean, it was bad from Charles Cross. It looked like he was checked out. I mean, he didn't know where he was. So, yes, there was a lack of intensity. Brandy, it's a great point. I don't know what to tell you, but it wasn't there tonight. That for sure. Next question, hashtag Seahawks. Why don't we just lose every game of the regular season so we get the number 1 overall pick and get a quarterback? Here's the deal, okay? I've been of the belief that when it comes to tanking and finding a number 1 pick, that you should only tank if there is a sure bet number 1 talent. And here's what I mean by that. If Trevor Lawrence is available, yeah, you could tank. If Andrew Luck is available, yeah, sure, tank. Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud are 2 very good quarterbacks, likely to go number 1 and number 2 in next year's draft. And they are better than any quarterback in last year's class. But they are not Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence either. I mean, they're better than Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis. But those aren't guys worth tanking for number 1 overall. I mean, here's the deal. The best player in this draft next year is not those 2 guys. It's Will Anderson, the defensive player from Alabama. He's the guy. I think even if the Seahawks had the number 1 pick, I'm not using another quarterback. I'm getting Will Anderson. Will Anderson is the guy you can't miss on right now, and then you figure out the quarterback situation later. So that's why I say if your idea is to tank for the number 1 overall pick to get a quarterback, you're wrong, because the best player in this draft, the guy that's going to go number 1, at least if the draft were held today, is not going to be a quarterback. It's going to be Will Anderson. So, an interesting idea. It's going to be talked about a lot, but that's the reality of things right now. Today's show is sponsored by Mint Mobile on America's largest 5G network, offering unlimited talk and text, high-speed data, mobile hotspot, plans starting at just $15 a month. Even your mother might ask you to stop calling so much. Look, times are tough. Inflation's high and gas prices and everything in between, but why not save on your cell phone plan with unlimited talk, text, and data at mintmobile.com/chatsports. Plans starting at just $15 a month. It's quite the deal. Sign up today. You will not regret it. Start saving. mintmobile.com/chatsports. Next question from Anish Anad said, hashtag Seahawks, after what we saw tonight, will Drew Lock start week 1? I got to tell you, Drew Lock benefited tonight, even though he did not play, because Drew Lock got to just sit back and see how bad Geno Smith performed, and Jacob Eason, who's so far off in the quarterback competition anyway, did not do enough to say, give him a look either. That now Drew Lock, I think it is in a position now, things have shifted, where if Drew Lock takes care of business, does what he's supposed to do, then it's his job to lose now. I think that's where things have shifted. Things have changed. We were told for the last several weeks this was Geno Smith's job to lose. This was his. Now I think things have turned. I think now this job is Drew Lock's to lose because of how much we saw the struggle from Geno Smith, that Drew Lock has to go out there. If he can show he can move the offense, that at least gets them moving on their feet, do something, then that's better than what we saw from Geno Smith. So, yes, I would say now Drew Lock's the favorite to start week 1. How would you describe Seattle's offense versus Chicago? What's your one-word reaction? Let me know in the comments section. My word would be incompetent. I mean, it was so out of whack, so out of sorts. The first team, second team, I mean, it just didn't, nothing felt right. I would say incompetent. How would you describe the Seahawks offense against Chicago? Let me know in the comments section. All right, another question. This one from Zeno. Cowboys fans know your pain. All those penalties, what was it? I believe the Cowboys last week against Denver got called for about 17 penalties. A lot of penalties for the Seahawks tonight. Charles Cross in particular. Just unacceptable. Should not have happened that way. And speaking of Charles Cross, is Charles getting benched? No. Tonight was a learning experience. Here's the thing with Charles Cross. As bad as tonight went, with all the penalties, everything that stacked up, all the mistakes he made, and as disappointing as it was, at the end of the day, it was a preseason game. It was a learning experience. And now what you hope is that Geno Smith turns around, or not Geno Smith, Charles Cross turns around, and that he learns from this and gets better. That you have this happen now rather than in the regular season, Kermit the Frog. I mean, that's what you hope for. That's why you have these preseason games, for these learning experiences. Now we'll see. But, no, you're not benching your number 9 pick over one bad preseason game. But it is an interesting question. Kyle writes, will Geno Smith be cut if the Seahawks pick up Jimmy G? Yes, I think so. But I don't think they're picking up Jimmy G. They're not trading for him for sure. That would cost $26 million to trade for Jimmy G. The Seahawks don't have the cap space. Doesn't make any sense. If he is cut by the Niners, which if the Niners cut him, that'd cost them $1.5 million against the cap. Seattle would then probably have to pay about $10 or $11 million to bring in Jimmy G. Then Geno, I think, is the odd man out along with Eason. Drew Lock's your backup. You're not going to be moving on from Drew Lock. Even if you brought in another quarterback, Drew Lock would be your number 2. With that said, I don't think Jimmy G is coming to Seattle, but I don't think that we'll see Geno Smith be cut in the process. If he does, we'll make a video. We'll be covering it here on Seahawks Today. I don't think it's going to happen, but crazier things have happened before. We have all the Seahawks watch parties, live shows, breaking news. I mean, even when the Seahawks got beat, we still had a great time on Seahawks Today at our watch party the other night. If you weren't watching along with us, I don't know what you were doing. Because me and Jeremy Chuggs, I mean, it was a heck of a time. Subscribe to the channel so you be a part of all the watch parties, live shows, breaking news and rumors and more. Turn on notifications, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Couple more questions. This one from Doom. Doom says, what the F is going on? Geno is just horrendous. I could not have said that any better myself. What was going on? It was bad. And for a guy that didn't have any interceptions, this felt like a 3-interception performance, didn't it? I mean, nothing went right for Geno Smith. And here's the thing, okay? When the Seahawks move towards the regular season, in this next chapter, replacing Russell Wilson, right now you are not looking for your next franchise quarterback. That's not in this quarterback room. What you are looking for the Seattle Seahawks is a game manager, somebody that won't make mistakes and that won't cost you. Sure, Geno didn't have any interceptions. That's true. But Geno made such mental mistakes that did not necessarily show up on the stat sheet. I mean, I'm looking right now, the play where he just fell down on his own on a play-action pass, that should never happen. Never. So, Geno was unacceptable. It was brutal. I hated it. Who is the winner on the Seahawks? I would say I would point to the rookie corners, Tariq Woolen, Coby Bryant. Those guys stepped up. They played much better than they did a week ago. Darwin Thompson, Travis Homer, DJ Dallas, those guys stepped up. You know, you didn't have Kenneth Walker III tonight. You didn't have Rashad Penny. and those guys answered the call. I mean, DJ Dallas had 4 catches for 52 yards on top of having 15 yards on the ground. I mean, he has shown that he is capable of being a third down back for this team. So I like that. Marquise Blair was good. Boye Mafe was solid. Even with as bad as this performance was, there were still some guys that stood out among the rest. But nonetheless, it wasn't a great night, but there are guys with some positive momentum going forward heading into the Seahawks' final preseason game. If we didn't get to your question, no worries. You can follow me on Twitter at Tyler Jones Live. Slide into my DMs or tweet me, whatever it may be, and I would love to talk to you there and answer whatever questions you may have there on Twitter. Always enjoy talking to Seahawks fans, and it's a great platform, and we have a great time there on Twitter. Follow me at Tyler Jones Live, and we'll see you here on Seahawks Today.